Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2023 Kia Carnival, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver. But before we get into that, why don't we just take a minute and check this out, make sure it'll work for you. With the Carnival being a pretty popular family type vehicle, people use them to do a ton of different things, right? And so having a trailer hitch back here just makes sense. It's going to open up your opportunities on what you're actually going to be able to do, whether you're trying to use a cargo carrier while you're over the road, maybe throw a bike rack back here or pull a trailer. The hitch will allow you to get all those different types of tasks done. Compared to some of the other hitches available for the Carnival, I think hands down this one is going to be the best looking, at least in my opinion. Kind of sits a little bit further back, has a matte black finish, and almost matches the plastic on her bumper spot on. So kind of a good all-around hitch. There is a draw tide available that's set up more for more heavy duty type towing, at least in my opinion. So if that's something you plan on doing, primarily pulling a big camper around or something like that, that one might be worth looking into. The hitch is going to have a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening, which is a super common size, and a lot of different things are going to work with it. It is going to use the standard 5/8 pin and clip. One doesn't come with the hitch, but not a big deal. If you need one, you can always grab it here at eTrailer, or a lot of times too, if you end up buying a new accessory, they'll come with one, so just keep that in mind. The safety chain openings are a plate style, and they're very large, so shouldn't run into any issues as far as the hooks on your trailer actually working with it. As far as the hitch's weight capacities go, it's going to have some good numbers. Maximum gross tongue weight rating is going to be 600 pounds. It's going to be the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. So with that rating, you shouldn't run into any issues using pretty much any size bike rack or cargo carrier that you'd want to, for example. As far as the maximum gross trailer weight rating goes, that's going to be 4,000 pounds, or the amount of weight that is pulling on the hitch. So that is the weight of your trailer, plus anything you might have in or on it. I do always like to recommend, though, never a bad idea to grab your Kia's owner's manual. That way you can check in there and make sure your Carnival can handle that much weight safely. We'll grab a couple of measurements now, and these will help you figure out what accessories will work best. From the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be about 11.5 inches. So if you're going to buy a new accessory, if you can, get one that has a rise in the shank, give you a little more ground clearance there. Same will hold true if you're pulling a trailer, you want a ball mount that has a rise. Probably that 4-inch range would be appropriate for most situations. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the edge of the rear bumper, that's going to be about 4.5 inches, which is good clearance, but you can use that to figure out exactly if those folding type accessories you might have can be stored upright without hitting the back of your Kia. Other than that, at the end of the day, you know, this would be the hitch I would personally go with if I was planning on doing a little bit of everything, because really no matter what you throw at it, it's going to be able to get the job done, right? As far as the installation goes, it's really not too bad. You drop down a small panel over here, let the exhaust come down a little bit, which isn't a big deal at all. Everything's pretty easy to get to, and then essentially this just kind of bolts up into place. So shouldn't run into too many issues or take up a bunch of your time, but with that said, why don't we go ahead, pull into the garage, and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're going to be underneath the back of our Kia, and what we need to do first, over here on the driver's side, is remove this underbody panel. So there's going to be several push pin style fasteners kind of along the edges, and you can take a flathead screwdriver and pry out on the head, and then you can get out the whole base there. So we'll just work our way around and get all of them removed. You'll have a push pin on the front side of the underbody panel right there. So once we get that last one out, it should drop down and we can get it out of the way. We are going to need to lower our exhaust down some to give us some space to work. Before we do that, I like to take a strap and just run it from side to side. That way we can kind of control how fast and how far we let the exhaust come down. There's going to be 2 rubber isolator hangers that we need to remove. One right here by the tailpipe, and you can spray these down with soapy water just to help lubricate them. Then you can take a pry bar or big screwdriver, whatever you got that'll work, and pry one end of the hanger off. It doesn't really matter which side you do, it's whatever one's easier to get to. The second hanger will be on the back side of our muffler here. And we'll use that same technique to get that hanger off. Once that is done, we should be able to loosen up our strap a little bit and let the exhaust come down a ways. Now we can go over our attachment points that will secure our hitch. We're going to have 3 on each side, and they're going to be the same on each side of the vehicle. This one, and that one. We want to make sure that these are clean, so I sprayed in some penetrating oil in there. You can take a tube brush, just kind of work it back and forth to get any dirt or junk out of there. And I want to mention from this point on, anything we do to one side of our vehicle, we'll also do to the other side because it'll be set up the same way. On the sides of our trunk pan here, there's going to be some sealer, and this may interfere with getting our hitch up. So you want to take a putty knife or a scraper and just get some of it removed. That way when we go to put the hitch up, we're not going to have any interference. So we got the sealant removed, and you don't have to get too crazy here. I just kind of went around this bend here and got it remotely flush, and that should provide us with enough clearance to get our hitch up. Before we get our hitch up, I just want to go over the hardware that we're going to use to secure it. It's going to be the same for all of our attachment points. Just going to have a bolt and a conical tooth washer. Make sure the teeth on the washer are going to face up towards the hitch, and we're going to hold the hitch up, line it up with the holes, and then the hardware will just simply thread right into the attachment points. Now with an extra set of hands, we can get our hitch up into position. And then we'll take the hardware that we went over and get them started hand tight. With all the hardware in place and hand tight, we can come back with the 3/4 inch socket and snug it all down. Now we can come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all of the hardware to the amount specified in our instructions. Re-lubricate the exhaust hangers and hang the exhaust. So with these, you can just work them back in place by hand. Same thing for this one. And with the exhaust supporting itself, we'll go ahead and remove our strap. What we can do now is trim our panel out according to the diagram and the instructions. So I just drew that out. This is somewhat thin plastic. I'm just going to use a pair of snips to get everything cut out of here. With the panel trimmed out, went ahead and reinstalled it the opposite way that we removed it. And this is how it turned out. I think it looks pretty good. But with that all complete, that will finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2023 Kia Carnival.